Okay, if there's no further questions of the general manager, I think we'll move on to the finance report from Lori Tasker.
Good morning.
Good morning, Lori.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to start with the balance sheet. Do you all have the copies of the financial statements in your packet? So what you'll see for the month of May in 2010, I'm going to compare that to May of 2009. And we're seeing an increase in total overall net assets since last May. That's primarily driven by the fact that we've received the last two installments in the grant revenue related to the Green Line. So a portion of that revenue has gone to pay off part of the debt, and then we have debt remaining on the Green Line of $80 million that will be paid off with the rest of the cash that we received this May. Those two payments are due in the next 2 years. So we have a decline in total debt outstanding, and we have an increase in cash right now as we wait to pay off that debt. Also in May, we had cash receipts increase due to a couple of factors. We received some preventive maintenance grants in May, and we also received our quarterly payroll tax receipts in May. Moving on to the operating statement. We're seeing a continue in the trend that we've seen all year, and that is the fact that we have lower operating revenue compared to budget, as well as lower operating expenses. Year to date in May, the operating expenses are below budget by 1.6%, and the operating revenue is below budget by 5.5%. Beth wanted me to make a couple of comments about the basis of accounting for payroll tax. We track payroll taxes in the financial statements on an accrual basis, which means that we're estimating how much payroll tax we're receiving for that month as it's earned. So the employers in the area pay the payroll tax after the quarter has ended. So the quarter ended March was paid basically on May 15th. But we have to estimate in advance what we think those collections are going to be. So that's the difference. So what you're seeing in May on our financial statements is an estimate of what we think we earned in May. It doesn't reflect the collections that we had in May. As far as... Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm looking at the taxes and other receivables.
Yes. On the balance sheet.
There's a tremendous difference between May and June from 531 million to 91.
Where
I'm on the pages aren't numbered, but it says asset, taxes and other receivables.
on the balance sheet or on the...
I'm on the
Debt service fund.
general fund balance sheet.
Are you looking at the debt service fund balance sheet or the,
No, I'm
the
looking
general
at
fund balance sheet?
assets on the backside of that page. They aren't numbered. It's the general fund balance sheet.
Yeah. So the difference to that.
Oh, you're looking at the debt service fund balance sheet. So what you're seeing on the debt service fund balance sheet, this is the fund that is for the general obligation debt, and as that debt decreases, there's going to be a reduction in the receivables there. And that's just between June and May, that's just a timing difference, because in June, we've accrued 3 months worth of revenue that we believe we're going to receive that we haven't received yet. So that's really just the $500,000 or the $400,000 difference there is really just a timing difference. Also, I would have to say that in June, since that's our year end, that's when we get the best information from the counties as to what our receivables are outstanding. So we really clean up that balance in June, and in May I don't have that kind of information. So we're just tracking based on the receipts.
Next report.
Yes, so you'll see a difference in that balance in the next
Just
report.
stood out as
Yeah, it does look strange, doesn't it?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Laura,
Yes.
I'm not sure if you're going to get to this, but I was wondering, can you shed some light on the spike in the bus transportation operating expenses for the month? It looks to be about a 29% increase call it variance versus budget.
Yeah.
Maybe the driver, what's driving that?
Brian, do you want to comment to that change?
That is caused by a legal settlement in a particular case and also anticipated litigation. We reserve that amount.
Oh, so there's an accrual in there
Yes.
for future? I see. Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. I thought there might be some questions on that. So as far as the area unemployment is concerned, we're seeing unemployment in the Portland metro area in May is at 10.3%. In April, it was 10.4%. So there's a slight improvement, which we've started to see as a trend where the rates are slightly improving over the last 3 months. In the last year, the metro area has lost about 20,000 jobs. So we're definitely seeing that in our payroll tax receipts, although the last 2 quarters in our payroll tax receipts have been consistent with last year, so which is actually an improvement for us because we saw reductions in 2009 compared to the previous year in collections. So things are starting to look a little bit better. Is there any other questions on the operating statement?
Mr. President, if I may. Sure. If we look at the year-to-date and net results from operations, the budget was, again, my apologies for being new, but $14 million, 311,000. It's on this page.
Yeah, the net results, yes. As I spoke to, the revenues are behind budget, but the expenses are actually behind budget at a larger rate than the revenues.
Right. So I guess my contextual, just for information's sake, I should have asked this before the board meeting, I presume. If we had budgeted a net operation profit of $14 million on this line item,
Yes.
and we're at $87,000 in the red, in the general context, where would the $14 million profit, what would that have gone to? Debt service, presumably, other general fund obligations that are not related to operations? Is that where that net profit would have gone?
That's correct. This page does not include the principal and interest on the debt, expenditures for operating projects and capital projects.
Okay. So then the two numbers together, comparing actual to budget, really describes the problem you're contending with in preparing a budget for next year. So thank you. That was just for my background.